I'm just going to put parallel. I'm just going to use the symbol lines equations. So take your ruler, straight edge, whatever you're using. I just grab whatever I've got in front of me. And I'm going to draw a line. I'll use the lines on my paper, but I'm still going to use a straight edge. And I'm going to go down about 3 lines. And I'm going to draw another line. Well, using the lines of my paper, they're going to be parallel. But do you remember? Let me go ahead and put the transversal on it. You've got to know the lines are parallel. People say, well, they look parallel. You don't know it unless you mark them. Do you remember the symbols? You can put the little arrows. You can fill them in. You can do them like this. I'll even show you my lazy way to do it in a minute. But you can fill them in. It's kind of your choice. And sometimes they do more than one. I'll show you that on the next one. I'm going to take first, and I'm going to put 80 degrees right here. And I'm going to put 25x plus 5. I said 25, but I wrote 2, didn't I? 25x plus 5. Now, usually the worksheets that I use have parentheses around it and put degrees right there. I don't know on the classwork if I ask you what they are, but we're going to do it in the notes. If you look at it, if you look at all the 4 angles up here, if I just cover this up, I already know there's only 2 answers up here. I don't need all of them, but if this one's 80, that one's 80 because of vertical angles, right? And what do these other 2 have to be? 100, 100, 100. Linear pair, that's where it comes from, 80 plus 100. You got to know the reason, and you got to know what they do. And all of these fit down here. So in every picture, you only have 2 answers. If you're doing the angles in lesson 12, it's either going to be one of these or one of these. Down, same thing down here. And let's see, how did I say this? You've got, unless they're perpendicular, which you very rarely see, because if you have right angles, they're all 90. Every one of them is 90. So you've got an acute angle, and you've got an acute angle here. The acute angles, every acute angle, this one, this one, this one, this one, are all the same. All the obtuse, that one, this one, this one, and this one, are all the same. So maybe that's how you know to do the work, but you don't know what they are. But let's write it anyway, because you really, really need to learn these. Inside the parallel lines means that they're interior. I'm going to write the whole word. I need to print that, don't I? Okay, interior. Now, why are they interior? Because they're between the lines. Now, they're either consecutive or they're alternate. Now, look at them. They're across the transversal. They're across from each other. They're alternate. Write the whole word for your notes, and then I'll put angles. Now, here's the 2 things that can happen. Are they equal? Are they the same measure? Or are they add up to 180? Are they a supplementary? They got to be equal. They're the same. That's an acute angle. That's an acute angle. They're equal. So write 25x plus 5 equals 80. Solve it. Subtract 5. You get 25x equals 75. Divide by 25, x equals 3. You can put degrees. Technically, you don't have to because the degrees is already up here. Fine if you do, fine if you don't. Number 2. Do the same thing. We're going to draw 2 parallel lines, 3 lines apart. I'm going to put the diagonal of the transversal going the other way. I know they're parallel. Now, here's another way you can write parallel. They might just put arrows like this. It's not going to be these arrows. This just means your line go on forever. This, sometimes they'll put 2, and then I put 2 on this one. You don't have to fill them in. You can. You don't have to. That's just another way to write them. If that's quicker for you, you can just make them arrows. But just make sure they match up. So, without even any numbers, I know this one, this one, this one, and this one are all the same. And I know they're all less than 90. You know, this one, vertical angles. They're acute. They're all less than 90. They're less than 90. All of these 4 are the same because they're obtuse. So, you know, if that's 120, that's 120. That's 120, that's 120. So you only got 2 answers when you're filling in the numbers in lesson 12. Now these get a little messier because you got algebra in them. So we're going to make this one up here 7x plus 2 degrees. And we're going to make this one right here 8x minus 7. Now what is this one? Now be careful. They're in the same position. You pick them up, it's just like copy, paste. It's in the same position. You remember what those were called? Corresponding. Do what? Yep, you got to read those. And I do list them for you because it's hard if you're just off the top of your head trying to look at it. So that's why I would open my notebook, and when you have a quiz over them, I list all your choices. Oh, what do we know about corresponding? That's the acute. That's the acute. So they have to be what? They have to be equal. 7x plus 2 equals 8x minus 7. I'm going to move the 7x. I encourage you to move your variable first. It just makes it easier. Then add the 7, and you get 9 equals x. Number 3, last one we're going to do. Did everybody get that copy? Okay. Number 3, one more. Parallel line, 3 lines between them. Let me pull it down. Lines on the paper help a whole lot. And I'm going to make the transversal go. I usually switch them back and forth. And I just do it kind of generically. I just make sure I have an acute one and an obtuse one. And we're going to put parallel. I'm going to put my arrows over here. Sometimes I put them on one side. I'm just going to do them like that. You can fill them in. You don't have to. I'm just kind of giving you a variety of ways. They usually fill theirs in, but they don't make them very big. You'll see that in lesson 14. We're going to let this one be 18x plus 5 degrees. And we're going to let this one over here be 11x plus 1 degrees. It's not going to be any of the new ones if it's not here to here. It has nothing to do with parallel lines, has nothing to do with this. If I only had that, I could still work it. This is an angle up here compared to this one. That's going to be the new ones. Angle up here compared to this one. That's always the new ones. But you don't want to forget vertical angles, this one and this one, that one and that one, or linear pair. Now, at least I've broken most of you from just putting linear. I did have one in honors that was still just writing linear. But it's a linear pair. It's a pair of numbers, a pair of angles. Now, you ought to be able to see it. That's a straight line. How many degrees in a straight line? 180. They're supplementary. So 18x plus 5 plus 11x plus 1 equals 180 degrees. Let's clean it up. I got 18x's. It makes life so much easier. 18x's plus 11x's is 29x's. I am not moving anything. Plus 5 plus 1 plus 6 equals 180. Minus 6, I'm going to tell you, this is the best way because you don't make as many mistakes. Divide by 29, and they always come out even. For us, at least now. ACT, I don't know. X equals 6, and you got it. So the big thing is, what are they? Even in your brain, you need to know it if it doesn't ask you. But are they the same or are they add up to 180? That's your two things. You have 12 of them. If you're ready for lesson 13, you're great to go. If you're still working on 12, hopefully 11 is finished. 11 was really fast, wasn't it? Wasn't that the one where you just had to name them, I think?